to meet internal and external policies.
Microsoft Office is a tool for productivity for people at work and for people at home. For people who work in small businesses and people who work in large businesses. For people who work out of their home and people who are simply trying to be productive and creative at home.
Office on the cloud means people can now get full Office streamed securely to their PC.
Subscription customers log into Office 365 portal, and with enrollments, full Office is streamed to the PC where they're working.
Office comes to you on your Windows 8 tablet, smartphone, or PC. There's support for iOS and Android phones, so you get IM, presence, meetings, voice, and video across all devices.
When I'm on the go, Link Mobile gives me one-click access to my online meetings from my mobile phone. And on my Windows 8 tablet, I can access things like shared meeting notes and PowerPoint presentations. The new Office lets me connect face-to-face with people via interactive video meetings, with multi-party HD, audio, and video. I can even connect with Skype users to get answers in real time.
With my site, I can be in direct contact with my coworkers, plus my team documents and emails, all in one place. With unified e-discovery across email, IM, calendar, documents, and sites, compliance officers can now easily find data across your organization.
You can keep users productive without compromising security with things like policy tips to warn about unintended policy violations.
We have the most vibrant, exciting new version of Windows in years. We complement it with the most vibrant, exciting new release of Office in years. Office that's designed for the new Windows. Office that's designed for the new world of cloud service. And while individually I think they're quite remarkable, together I think they're quite magical.
Your modern Office. Office when you want it, on demand. Across Windows 8 and other tablets, smartphones, and PCs.
You can get answers and share ideas in real time using video and voice while keeping your business compliant.
Office when you want it, the way you want it, on demand. Your modern Office. You're gonna love it.
Okay, everybody. Thanks for coming to the product in this session. We're going to do things a bit differently. I don't want to do a death by PowerPoint. We're going to obviously do some demonstrations, but I'd like to keep it as interactive as possible. Again, I have my partner in crime right here. It's a technical question, product-related question. We'll have him answer those questions for you. The outcome for this presentation is really simple. We want you to understand what's in Office. And we want you to understand what options you have when you're looking towards using the new Office in your environment, whether it's consumer version, whether it's the mid-market SME SKUs, or is it something that you want to use for your enterprise businesses. So I wanted to quickly first start off on who we are as a company, right? There's a lot of perceptions of us as a company, and I think a lot of those perceptions are old, and we're here to renew that perception. We're about 90,000 people in about 100 countries, and we're across the world with different diversity skills. So we're not all rocket scientists here. We're not all programmers and coders. We have musicians, ethnographers, artists, designers, physicists, mathematicians. We're all sitting together and working in different fields within Microsoft. We've always believed that making technology affordable and available to people would unleash a level of creativity like not before. Our earliest ambitions were about putting a PC on every desk. And I think Paul Allen and Bill Gates did a heck of a job with that. We achieved that. But the whole purpose of putting the PC was self-empowerment. We wanted people to be more in control of what they do on a daily basis. Now, that's changed significantly from where we are today. We're using technologies in so many different ways. I mentioned on the main keynote session, we Skype, we Bing, we tweet, we hash, we like, and there's always on information across multiple devices. We've noticed that over the last few years. I mean, look, let's be very, very, very straightforward. 15 years ago, there wasn't any internet. And if you look today on how we interact in our day-to-day lives, the way we use technology and work and play, it's completely different. And based on these feedbacks, if you look at some of the statistics today, we've designed our office. 1 billion smartphones by 2016. Almost half of those are going to be used in the enterprise. 80% of the world is on some kind of social network. And if you're not already using Facebook or one of the social networks, it's very much likely that you will be very, very soon. And 50% of our enterprise customers are on the road to the cloud. When I say the cloud, it doesn't have to be the Microsoft cloud, but it is some kind of cloud technology that you're using. A lot of the IT pros in this room have worked very hard over the years putting the cloud infrastructure to place. And now, based on that infrastructure, you can leverage the services on the cloud. And that's why Steve Ballmer has come back and changed the mantra of us as a company. We're a device and services company. Devices are the experience. Services are the quality of experience we bring on those devices. It's very, very important that we cover that. So that goes back to what I mentioned quickly, our productivity vision, to give you the best experiences across devices on your terms. You may have a hybrid environment where you've got a bit of private cloud, a bit of public cloud, a bit of on-prem, or you're in a completely cloud environment if you're a small, medium business, for instance, or whether you're completely on-premise. Our vision of productivity is to give you the platform that works best for you. And there's no other competitor in the market that can give you this flexibility of choice. All of that being on an enterprise-grade solution. So if you look at our best-of-breed solutions, messaging, voice, content management through SharePoint, enterprise social, with our Yammer acquisition, and of course BI and analytics tools that we have that work with SQL, we really have put the best-of-breed offerings together in our Office platform. So based on this, we came with our new version of Office. Like I mentioned, our new Office is not just an extra user interface that's pretty. There's a lot of work we've done from the back end. We've completely recoded Office to be more applicable to what's going on with you, knowledge workers and IT pros, in the way you use your business. Fast and fluid experience, touch, pen, and mouse. It's not just about using one user interface. It's about using multiple. It makes so much sense that in certain situations you want to use touch. In certain situations you want to pull out a pen, make notes, and in some you use your traditional mouse and keyboard. But out of all, to be productive, it makes sense to use all three, maybe at the same time. Where you write a few notes, then you copy with your finger, you paste, you move it. That kind of interaction is what the new Office can give you. Immersive and touched web apps. We showed some of the apps, as I have shown how Bing Maps integrates into Outlook. We also have apps in the Windows Marketplace, which today we'll show you. We'll show you OneNote MX. If you have Windows 8, you can download OneNote MX today. It's free. And you can use a touch-based way of making notes. How many people, show of hands, are using OneNote or have used OneNote for Microsoft Office? That's going to change because the way we've changed it up and the way it works with SkyDrive, no longer is there even a save button in OneNote. Everything you make on OneNote automatically saves to a cloud through the free SkyDrive account. And the best part is, we made a promise on our vision of productivity across multiple devices. And today, Office is supported with Windows Phone, iOS, and Android devices. When it comes to cloud, I spoke a little bit about Office 365, Office on Demand. You can access wherever you are. You can be roaming. Sometimes you may come to work, or sometimes your IT managers may come and say, bring your own device. We don't have the funding for us to do hardware refresh cycles every 3 years. We're okay for you to bring your own laptop, provided it sits to a compliant standard within the IT organization. Well, with Office, it doesn't matter what device you use. If you use our cloud version, your browser is your window to access your Office. And of course, all of this with enterprise-grade reliability standards. A lot of questions get asked to us is, okay, so my Office is in the cloud, but is my data really secure? And I can assure you, with the ISO standard and certifications we have, and some of the key wins that we have globally, that you will be rest assured that our O365 platform is very robust and very secure. A good example is the city of Chicago. The entire city of Chicago is now running Office 365. All the municipalities, all the management and administrative teams within the entire city of Chicago have adopted O365. Social. Why is social so important? Zai spoke a little bit about Yammer and SharePoint, and today we acquired Yammer a few months ago. And what's happening is that Yammer is now slowly getting integrated into SharePoint. SharePoint will be your window for social, for collaboration, for SkyDrive Pro and document sharing and working on the fly. Why is social so important? IBC came back in the last few reports from the CIO top 10 priority list, and listed social as being one of the top 10 priorities that CIOs are putting on their list. Think about it. When you join an organization and you have an answer to a question and you don't know anyone yet because you're new, how do you get that answer as effectively as possible? In the form of a form, if you have one, but how hard is it to manage that? Imagine using a simple question that somewhere in some branch who's a product expert can go and respond to your question as effectively as possible. That's the power of social. Multi-party HD, voice and communications. We're spending a lot of time flying and spending a lot of company money making visits. Again, in our region in the Middle East, face-to-face makes the difference. It's in our culture. We like to talk face-to-face and build connections. We're emotional people. And with the power of HD video, you can do that at the same time retain and control costs within your organization. It's a very powerful story. And we'll show you all of these things. The other piece is Skype Federation, and I know there may be some questions today about Skype. Yes, we know Skype is not available in the Middle East in certain countries, and we're being probably one of them. But Skype is a product we require, and we are working very, very hard with telco operators to put together an offering in agreement with them to offer Skype. Now, why is Skype so important from a business perspective? Well, let's imagine you're a small, medium business, and you have something that's customer-facing, or maybe you're a hotel. Wouldn't it be great if your consumers can call you using Skype as a B2C, and then if you can forward that to a call center on the back end of your company, which is Link? And that's the importance of how Link and Skype are going to federate together to give you that seamless voice experience, and where customers can call and reach you at a much cheaper cost than it would be from a landline or a cell phone. That's the power of voice, and that's where we believe we're going. So when it comes to our device story, when you look at Outlook, Zayed showed you some key features. Outlook looks very clean, very minimized. However, we haven't removed or stripped any features. We've given you the flexibility of the way you interact with your business. I'm going to quickly show you. If you look at the icons on the left, you wonder why are they there. But if you imagine opening up Outlook on a tablet, your thumb is the closest thing for responding, deleting, forwarding emails. And so the new Outlook is very, very touch-friendly. We've got peaks and minimized ribbons. So the ribbons are there for those people who love the ribbons. We have die-hard fans for the ribbons. And if you just touch on the ribbon, it will expand. But what we wanted to do is minimize the amount of noise and focus more on the emails and solutions. The experience is best on Windows 8. We're going to show you very, very shortly on how all of that works. This is a view of PowerPoint Presenter. Today on the keynote, you may have noticed there were these gigantic LCD screens at the bottom where speakers could see their notes. It cost a lot of money for companies to set up those LCDs. With the new PowerPoint Presenter view, everyone can speak. Right now, I'm seeing that presenter view on my screen. I see what the next slide is. I know what the notes are to be covered, and I know how much time I have left. That's an amazing feature for PowerPoint that makes everyone a lot more professional in the way they present. It's a screenshot of OneNote that we're going to show you a little later. Zayed showed the beautiful touch immersive app, the radial dial. Everything can be done with your finger, however, it's not restricted. OneNote, if you pull a stylus and pen, you can make notes on the fly. And you can also take pictures and share them live on SkyDrive. A seamless experience on the cloud. Data available all the time. OneNote is a beautiful, beautiful story on that. I'm not going to go on with any more jargon and more slide views. I'm going to bring Zayed on stage because I want to see this in action. I'd like you to stop us this time in this room in the demos, and I'd like you to ask questions if you don't understand, because we want you to walk out of the room understanding the significant difference and the hard work we've done with the new version of Office. Zayed, please come on stage and let's show these guys a much more detailed walkthrough of what we're trying to do.
Brilliant. What do you think about the keynotes?
It was good.
So let's see some stuff within the new Office. Well, the thing is basically the Office that a lot of people think the more that we are adding versions, we are not adding a lot of features around the Office itself. And sometimes a lot of people are saying comments around how much we use out of Office when we have the Office. To be honest with you, most of the time, the way how I explain Office from a practical experience, that think of it as the only centric application that can run most of your line of business applications as well. I've seen people developing applications over Outlook. As an example, within Microsoft, all our CRM applications is accessible through Outlook. This is the way how we have the experience. If you look into Microsoft WinWorld, I've seen companies building document generation systems based on Microsoft WinWorld. So all of that can happen. It's just you how you want to take Office to the next level. And with the new Office, we have added many features. I'm going to start with the kind of features that we will interact with the end users about them. Then I'm going to end up with a couple of features as well on how you can extend the Office to the max. Let me start with this. As you can see, this is my presentation. One of the things that I wanted to show you here immediately, this is PowerPoint. And we added so many features in PowerPoint recently. One of them that I personally like is the ability for you to right away go from PowerPoint and say, oh, by the way, I'm presenting online. So I need from here to say, I need to present to link. So if I have link, I need to share my presentation, I can come here and say present to link, immediately link will have this within Microsoft Link. If you don't have link, you can even stream that presentation through Microsoft Office within Office Web Apps within your Hotmail and Outlook.com. And you can give people the link on the phone, continue and work with them on the presentation. This is a feature that's built in. Another feature that I like about PowerPoint, you know, from time to time we have to add some cool transitions. And you can see a lot of transitions here. Let me show you a couple of transitions that we added. So this is a very nice one. This is another very nice one. But this is the coolest one. So you can see in PowerPoint you can do a lot of stuff. To be honest with you, you can take PowerPoint to the next level when you do designs on PowerPoint. But let me show you a very nice feature that we integrated within PowerPoint and Visual Studio. You know, when we build applications, we needed PowerPoint to be rich, and we needed to make sure that for people that are building applications, then they want to demonstrate these applications. What about using PowerPoint to do that? So the first level that you do when you develop an application, you need to make what we call a storyboard or a sketch for your application. Before, we used to have a tool called Expression Sketch Designer. Now, we have that within PowerPoint. Immediately, when you install Visual Studio, PowerPoint will have something called storyboarding. And storyboarding is cool. You can say storyboard shapes. And it will take 1 second. It will add all the shapes from Visual Studio. So you can see here my desktop, my ribbon application, and you can have that immediately. It's like building a very nice sketch for your application right away from here. You will find different, you know, calendar, text box, list, and so on, right away in everything PowerPoint. So what do you think about the new PowerPoint? One last feature in PowerPoint. So if I go here and I view, and I say that, right, for the sake of this, I'm going to say time and time monitor. So this is the way how we are running the presentation. But in the background, something else is happening. Let me show you what is my screen here. My screen here is called Presenter View. And if you see the Presenter View, it tells me that, all right, okay, so this is your presentation. Let me show it in the other, show it here. So I'm gonna, right, okay, guy. So when we go to that Presenter View, as you can see, the first thing that you will see here is that I can see the next slide. If I have a touch device, and you can imagine what's going to happen with devices and tablets when they are connected to a wireless projector, you're going to start moving. And while you are moving, you are playing the presentation. So you're going to go and swipe to the next slide. And you can see from here, I can even go and have the pen and say that I need a laser pointer. So people would say the laser pointer on the screen. I can come here and say, no, I need my pen. I'm going to draw stuff. I can see the next slide. I can see a timer. And even I can say, all right, I want to zoom to a location, or I zoom out. Or even I can see what are the slides and jump right away to the slide. This is new with PowerPoint. What do you think? Right? Beautiful? Right, okay, let's move to the next application. The next application that I'm going to present, you can see the screen.
Access it Go, access link from PowerPoint, access link from Outlook, access link from Word, access link from OneNote. It's all in the new Office available. And it helps you stay focused on what you're doing.
Right. So one of the things that I wanted to show is the Microsoft Word documents. So I'm going to open Microsoft Word. Right. When we open Microsoft Word, when you are opening a file, what can happen now, when you have this Excel file, when I'm opening Word documents, what's going to happen right now, that Microsoft Word, the first time it opens the document, it will tell you that this is a read only, or it will take me immediately to the ability to have an editing view. So what we added in the new WinWord, that on the reading pane, if you are looking at just only a read mode, you can see that I can move with the read. It's very clean. That's supposed to mean that on a tablet, you just can't swipe out. One of the nicest stuff that we have added with WinWord that I illustrated today is that when you move now to the edit mode, you can even embed some stuff. You can even embed applications. So as an example, if I have within my WinWord document, I need to embed a application for showing some stocks, or I develop an application that feeds data from other line of business application, I can do that. One of my favorites, let me switch to the new mode. One of my favorites is this one that I showed you today. You can embed a video. So you can imagine that you can go today with a WinWord document to these authors that they offer content, and you tell them, right, what about you add a video within Microsoft WinWord, and when you give the people the documents, they will have that video link embedded within the PowerPoint presentation. So if I switch to the view mode, and this is very nice and very cool. If you switch to the read mode, when you reach to this page, definitely the zoom in, zoom out will work with you on touch. But one of the cool stuff that you can start and go and play, right? And it plays right away from an embedded, whether it was on YouTube or somewhere else. This is YouTube video. What do you think of that? This is very nice. This is right away integrated within Microsoft Word documents. Now, as you can see here, Asad talked about the Office 365 and what is happening. That WinWord now is roaming. All your files are roaming with you everywhere. I explained today the new concept of the SkyDrive Pro. But what I wanted to show you here and illustrate for you, if you look into my WinWord, you can see my name out there, Alex. And if you see Alex, this is Alex signed in within Microsoft WinWord. What we have added here, two things. So you can now subscribe to WinWord. So you can install Office as a subscription. So there is something now, you will find Office 365 being sold on the retail stores, so in Milan and so on. You will find something called Office 365 subscription for your home edition, right? But at the same time, within the organization, when I sign in, doesn't supposed to mean the same concept. It means that when I go to File, and I see Accounts, it automatically connected to my SkyDrive Pro. So I can immediately see my files right away from here. As an example, if I say I need to open a document, I can go right away to document. And as you can see, I can see my documents in the cloud, and it right away brings my documents. Very nice integration that we have within Office. But at the same time, one of the things that you can have all the time, you can click here and say about me. What we'll do, we'll open Microsoft Office 365, or it will open your SharePoint, SkyDrive Pro, right, for you to
It shows you the portability of your documents, right? With SkyDrive Pro now, you don't have to worry about hard drives, USB keys, and making sure you have more memory because you're running out of hard drive space. Your documents are shared out. Can you tell them the SkyDrive Pro how much space they get in their accounts, and how can they increase and reduce that space?
It depends on the plan. So the more that So in Office 365, you have different plans. But think of it, with the SkyDrive Pro, if you have it hosted in the new premises, the sky is the limit. So the storage is your limit. Now, I need you to highlight an important thing. I hear from a lot of customers that Microsoft is not an enterprise content management company. You hear some other companies saying that Microsoft is not in the Gartner side or so. I'll tell you what, my last 5 years I spent them within ECM. And I can tell you, there is no company on the planet that does understand how you author, store, and even devise the content better than Microsoft. And I'm not saying this because I'm a Microsoft employee. You can try it out when you learn how to do it yourself. So if you think about it, I'm authoring a content, I'm storing it in Microsoft Store in the cloud or on my premise. I can even access that content for revision and for review across the different devices. On a tablet, soon we will have the story on the different devices. We won't talk about too much, but we're going to have it as well in Windows Phone, so you can see an Office web apps can enable you today to access this content from different places: iOS, iPads, iPhone, and so on. So this is not an easy thing to have all of that experience across the devices. Now, let me move to the next one.
I want to very quickly, does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, please.
Sir, gentleman there in the back, please.
2 questions. One.
If you open a document, Office document, like Excel or Word, can 2 people share the same document at the same time?
Yes. So what is happening here? All right. So we're going to demonstrate it live in the Office web apps. It's a very good question. If you think about it, when you move to the SkyDrive Pro, okay, so that question was the following. When we open a document, can we have 2 people working with the same document at the same time? This is a native feature now with Office. It's actually free feature as well available in your SkyDrive, the consumer one. You can upload an Excel file to multiple people working on the same document at the same time. I will show it in the demonstration. Please, the second question.
Well, it's not a question actually. This is amazing, but the voice, the sound.
Yeah. Sorry.
Mike,
Can we have a mic?
Yeah. We cannot hear.
I can't hear you.
No, not really.
Because of this thing.
Yeah.
So you have that?
I've heard that. This is amazing.
Yeah, we're going to do it right now. Thank you so much for the feedback.
Sorry.
What about now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
In the back, can you hear me? Right, brilliant. So let's switch to the...
Sorry, there's a question here. Can you increase the volume of the mic?
It's not working.
Should be working.
My question is that when we are opening any Word document, we can get the all commands.
Yes. Sorry, again, can you repeat the
When
question?
we are opening any Word document, in the Word 2010 or somewhere, all commands is open. But when we are opening some document in the SharePoint or cloud, all commands is open or some command is being blocked.
So, when you get the question, can you say the question please on the using the mic?
You're trying to get the mic.
Right, okay. Can we have the question in a second once the mic is on? Or I can come to you.
Anyway, my question is that in the 2010, when we are opening any document or Excel or PowerPoint, we get the all command open. But when we are opening same document in the SharePoint or in the cloud, all commands is accessible or not?
All comments are accessible.
Commands. That the reason that some commands is blocked or not.
So very good question. So the way how it is the following. When you open the documents in Microsoft Word, there are 2 ways of how you can view the documents. So you have ability to view the document on the browser, and you have ability to view the document offline, which is the desktop version that you have today. Now, when you browse the document in the browser, you're not going to have all the full fidelity. It's not because Microsoft is not doing it. Yes, definitely we are improving, and the whole market is improving on this one. But the main reason behind it is that the browser doesn't give you the whole fidelity. So look into drag and dropping. You have a multiple application, copy and paste. All of that doesn't happen in the browser. You know, when we say that we have Office web apps, you can't imagine the amount of work that our developers do to render the document and to have the same exact format running on the browser. So think of it the following. Can you do today, as an example, copy a picture from the desktop, go to the browser, Control paste, and it doesn't do uploading the content? It's not happening. It can't be done. So this is the difference between the offline and so on. All right. So I'm gonna finish with this one. We're gonna come to the questions right now. So I'm gonna finish with this one. How many of you knows RMS? You know, Microsoft Rights Management Security. So this is a role that you added on the Active Directory that allows you to protect Microsoft Office documents from getting printed and so on. This is right away integrated from here. So from here, you can say restrict access. If you have RMS installed, you can restrict people from printing. You know, the only way of how they can copy the content from Microsoft Office document if they enable RMS, just to bring a camera and capture the screen, that's it. They can't copy. It just disables the Control-C. Bring me a very smart Russian guy that knows about the hacking, and if he can do it, I will give you $500 on that. You're going to give me back $50 for the bonus, huh? All right, okay. So let's move forward. So this is Microsoft Outlook. I presented Microsoft Outlook today. I'm going to just only highlight one point here within Outlook. Then I will move forward. The point that I will highlight here, you can see my online archive right away appears from Outlook. This is Microsoft Exchange archiving. Unfortunately, sometimes you might spend your money on other archiving systems. Microsoft Exchange has a built-in two things, archiving and compliance, and it has as well voicemail. You don't need to spend your voicemail on another system, whether it was A or C. Just you can focus on the M. It just have the built-in voicemail within the Exchange, and it can be accessible right away from Outlook. The second one is the archiving. With Outlook on the web access or Outlook on the desktop, you can see me. If I go to the Outlook here, I can see my in-place archiving. Or if I go here, I can see my archiving as well. So it's accessible from different places. The second thing that I wanted to highlight in Outlook, definitely it's optimized for touch, and I demonstrated today the touches that we have, so the peaks. In Excel 2010, what we added was the slicers. So we said, all right, you can go here, select them all, say insert, and you can add spark lines, and you can add other stuff. And one of them, when you insert the pivot table, was the ability for you to go and add the slicers. So you can see from here, from insert, I can go and add the slicers. Spark lines, filters. You can say that, all right, okay, I need this as a filter. Or I can say at any point of time that, oh, by the way, I'm going to add some other stuff like a slicers. Might be missing the slicers here. Right. I can see it. No, it's fine. It's fine. So the slicer is your ability to have like a drop-down list of the content that you have. Now, the other one that I wanted to show you that we have added recently is something else as well. So I can say select all. And I can even make this very interactive. Can you imagine if you want to create a PowerPoint report? How is that? PowerPoint report? Yeah, we have done it. So you can connect to your database, have the Excel file filled with the data. You can click on Power View. It will open immediately something like an orchestrator for your report. So you can say, by the way, I'm going to add the Portland report. Then I'm going to add the Seattle one. Then I'm going to add another one. And I need to zoom this, zoom that. And if you look here, it doesn't add just only the fields. You can see that there are different fields that will be added with the PowerPoint, with the Power View. Like a field for charts. One as well, and you can see right away added a chart. And you can design your report the way you want. This is how easy you can have like a self-service BI. And we can have very, very sophisticated reports. One of the things that we have demonstrated recently with SQL Server 2012, that if you are connected to a huge database, and this database contains time, you can even have a movie over the data. So you can play, it will show you how the charts are changing over time, right, across your data. This is how extreme you can go with the reports, and this is enabled right away from Excel. By the way, I didn't use any other tool. I'm using Excel. You know, in Microsoft, in everyday business, asset knows, ask anyone in Microsoft, Excel is the most important tool that we use after Outlook for many reasons. One of them is calculating my stuff. All right, okay, so let's move forward. The last two ones actually that I wanted to illustrate is what is happening on link and what is happening on the touch side. So there is a wonderful application. I want to ask everyone here, how much you are using OneNote? Who's using OneNote in the room? Very well expected. I have no clue why this application doesn't get a lot of people using it. OneNote has been there since a long time. I think we as Microsoft didn't used to speak about it that much. I promise you, every single presentation I will speak about OneNote. OneNote is a wonderful application. Think of it as your notebook. And when you go to OneNote on the desktop, it's very rich. It's a very rich application that's available now with Microsoft Office. It can connect immediately to your cloud. As an example, it's connecting now to my cloud. And one of the things that you can see, let me connect it on. If you look into OneNote, OneNote is like a notebook. You know your notebook. Notebook has categories. So those are my categories. And pages. And I can have multiple notes with me. I can have even a note that's connected to the cloud. So when I go back home, I review my notes. OneNote is available today as well on the iPhone. So I can read my notes on the iPhone. So your notebook and notes are connected. But when we have a digital note, things are changing. In the digital note, you add different stuff. As an example, you add a diagram. You add a spreadsheet. You add a task. So I can say, as an example, that I need and I can mark this as a task. I can say, all right, this is an Outlook task. Not only this, if I'm in a meeting and I want to take the notes from that meeting, I can go immediately from here. I can say meeting details. It connects immediately to my Outlook, brings my calendar meetings. I can type, look what's going to happen. Can click, sorry. Look what's going to happen. It brought all the meeting details right away within that note. How cool is that? And for students, do we have any students in the room? Right. Sometimes what you need to do is to record your class. Right? So you can go from here, insert, and even say screen clipping or video recording. So you can record that and make that within your notes. And one of the nice things when you finish your notes, you can always go File, Share. So you share it with your friends, either on SkyDrive, the free one online, with your notepad and Outlook.com, or on SharePoint on premise, so you can have it shared with everyone.
Now, we spoke about OneNote and Outlook integrating, and I spoke in the past about how we're trying to make sure every other application within the Office platform talks. OneNote also talks with Link. So let's say if you're on a Link conference, you can open up OneNote, and all the notes you take on that call is shared with everyone. How many times do we get on a phone call, and each of us makes our notes, and then we have another meeting to compile those notes, and then we put that note in an email. Well, that saves some time, and live on the fly, add the OneNote to the conference. So that's another example of how we're integrating all different solutions under our platform.
Yeah, and this is OneNote MX. This is OneNote, the touch one. The one that I wanted to show in the OneNote on the touch, that you can do different stuff. You have seen me today doing the coloring and so on. But one thing we left, that we kept it for now, is what's happening if I have a whiteboard and I need to take my notes from that. Every single time we have a meeting, we finish that meeting, we want to connect to that whiteboard, and we want to take that notes. What's happening is like, right? By the way, you have noticed this. That was today in the notebook, in the other the tablet machine. So we're not synced between the two tablets that brought me my notes. So this was live. I didn't know about it.
You know, at Microsoft, when we have meetings, we have a lot of whiteboards in our meeting rooms. And what we do is actually, no one anymore really takes notes. We just whiteboard, we take out a Windows phone, we take a picture, that integrates into your OneNote, I go home, all those notes are there. I don't have to spend time copying notes. Yeah. And that really, really changes the way we work.
So the one feature that I didn't show today was, what about if I have a camera within my tablet? So I can go with the camera, say allow, I can smile. And if I have the touch enabled in the machine, one of the things that I can do is I can crop, okay, and right away show them. What do you think of that? Did you like it? Thank you so much.
Okay, so there's a goal, folks, this is just us showing you again these features. We want to walk you through these features so that you can start using them. We're going to be planning an event called Productivity Days in Kuwait. It'll be 1 full day of Office and Office 365. So look out for the invitation, it's going to be coming very soon. And last but not least, if you want us to come, or you want to see a full hands-on demo in our office, there's something called the Customer Immersion Experience Lab, where we put you in your job function. For example, someone from your marketing team, someone from your finance team, and someone from your HR team sit together and see how Office works for all of them in their business environment. All you have to do is get in touch with Zai, book a CIE lab session for free, come and learn more about this hands-on yourself. So those are the 2 go-tos you may want to consider. Questions? Any questions? We have the mic.
There was a question that I promised to answer about co-authoring. Right? So having 2 multiple people co-authoring the same documents. There was that question. Let me show you live. So this is my Excel sheet. I'm going to edit this Excel sheet, but I'm going to do something different. So I'm editing this Excel sheet. I'm going to take this Excel sheet here. I'm going to copy this one. And I'm going to open Internet Explorer from in private browser. So taking in private. You know what's in private? It disables all the cookies in the browser. So I'm going to log in with a different name. So here I have Katie Jordan. Here I have Alex Lee. By the way, I'm connected to Office 365, SharePoint. But I'm going to do live in front of you that I'm editing this document. I'm going to go and edit this document as well live. So you can see that I have 2 multiple people. And if you look here, what's going to happen in a second when I click, look what's going to happen here. When I click edit in Excel web app, as you can see, it automatically notices that someone else has joined. And in a second, it will automatically say that Alex has joined the document and he's editing it. So this is yeah, it will sync in a second. So you can see it here, Alex is working. Now one of the things that I wanted to show you as well, that look at what's going to happen here. So wouldn't you see this live on the chart? So let's move some data. So the company lost $10,000. Then 20, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do you think of that? This is live. And to show you more how it's live, let me change this. Let me say that this is. So you can see the changes are being made in the spots, in the 2 Excel sheets. And this person is working in London, this person is working here, and we are connected in the same Excel sheet at the same time. Right.
Yeah, I have a question about PowerPoint. Can you now make the slides portrait, one slide portrait, one slide landscape? Because the previous versions would only be one format, either portrait or landscape. So now is it flexible?
Okay. Why don't you use the page setup for the slide itself?
Yes, but then it changes for the entire presentation.
So as an example, this one as a slide itself. I know you are using this for breaking out the PowerPoint, right? You are not using this for illustration.
Now just one slide number 12 in portrait. Is it possible?
So, right, okay, so I get your point. So what is happening here is the following. We use PowerPoint for making PowerPoint slides, just only for printing. You might use this scenario for printing, right?
For printing, or let's say
for
a long graph.
Not graph, right, okay. Right. So what you do usually, this is the way how I do it. I make the larger one. Then I take my sections and I make them more large. Then I take my sections, I make a focus section, and I concentrate on it. So this is the way how I do it.
But there's no way now to just individually change the slides from portrait to landscape.
So it
still doesn't exist.
I did this to be honest.
No, to be honest with you, I don't know the answer to that, but I'll get you the answer. Simple as that. Any other questions?
This is regarding education process. Like if I have on-prem
hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is regarding third-party application integration. For example, I have my on-prem application, or it's another application which is different cloud, and I need to integrate with my documents from Office 365 cloud. So are there any APIs or web services exposed through which I can access my data from third-party application?
Yeah. It's the SharePoint APIs that you have today. So use your SharePoint web services that you know to connect to your SharePoint itself. So, SharePoint from a web service perspective, it has some kind of like scenarios that you need to access and follow to access these documents and put them out and use them within your line of business applications. Let me tell you a scenario that I have with one of the customers in Kuwait. What they have SharePoint there. All the documents are uploaded in SharePoint. They have a different application for scanning. So sometimes what they do, they scan, they push the documents to be in SharePoint as a document management system, and when they need to review the documents, they review the documents right away from their application. They can do that today using the web services. Now on the Office 365 side, from a web service perspective, it's the normal web services that you access. If it doesn't allow you, you can find today the new SharePoint 2013 SDK, and it has a section specifically about how you can build apps for the cloud. Remember, building apps for the cloud, you need to follow the Visual Studio apps for SharePoint. Because when you do apps for the cloud, it will be stored in a central location, and you have to follow the guidelines building these apps. Does that answer your question, sir? Sorry? Does that answer?
To fetch data from within a document. I don't want to download a document from one location to another. I just want to get into the document like Excel sheet or Access database on cloud, and I want to get specific data, and the number of rows from that document. So are there any set of services or APIs exposed for this?
Okay. Yeah, just remember as well, two things that you need to remember always. If you want to get the data from an application to the cloud, what is your authentication model? So how are you going to connect? You're going to use the cloud authentication, and how you can map that to your application. So this is something that you need to keep in mind. Because when I need to extract data, the cloud will not enable you to interact with the data whatsoever until you pass the right authentication. This is one. The second thing, the one that should interact with the data is a sandbox application that lives within Office Store, if it is on the cloud. If it is on-premise, this application has to be on SharePoint App Store. Right? Or you can use the normal web services that we have on SharePoint.
I have two more questions, and then we're gonna start covering on O365 and go in detail there. So one gentleman here and one lady.
I'm using now Outlook for a long time, maybe since 2016. Now, in the Atlas C, there is a limitation of entering telephone numbers. Is this solved now or still active? This is one question.
Let me get your question back. I will answer you with this. If I go to a new contact, right? Do you mean the limitation from here on adding here?
Yeah, you see this email or down here business. I can only enter one business telephone number or two business telephone number.
You see this drop down? So from here, you can add the assistant number, the business 2, the business fax, the call back.
That's it. If it is a work or a home number, it is only 2. I have only the chat. If I have one friend who is more one that number, one mobile, I can only enter one. You got my point?
Right. So you need to add a field here. Is that what
mobile number, extra mobile number?
Right, so as an example, if you have the mobile number here, and you need to add another field called mobile number 2.
Yes.
Right, you can do that. Right, you can extend the fields and the contact. But let me give you something that's really needed for you to know. When you extend a field, the issue that you face, and this is the feedback that I receive most of the time from my customers, is that how I can sync it with my mobile. And does it work? It doesn't work because of the active sync. Active sync has
can I stop you? It works with other systems. Android has unlimited mobile numbers or work number, home number. Apple has the same. It's only Windows systems that does not support this.
It's not Windows. This is from Outlook by default. Those are the fields. If you want to extend them, you can extend them.
Okay.
Now the thing is basic for you. When you sync your contacts with your mobile, how this field that you will add here will be mapped to that mobile contact? It can't be. Right? This is a fact.
This is ending that I had 2 contacts. I had the one in Outlook, this, and the other one is a telephone, is Android or iPhone or whatever.
Sure.
This is another completely set of numbers.
Sure. So those are by standards. The standards of the email. These are the default ones. Definitely you can add, as I said, you can add in the Outlook, just for you to take into consideration the syncing piece with the different devices. That's what I need to take into consideration.
Okay.
Thank you so much. We can take it offline as well.
Okay, one last question. This lady over here.
Hi. So my question is again regarding the co-authoring part. If you're co-authoring, like person A and person B are co-authoring the document, first of all, would like person B know which fields or which part of the document this person A is working on, so that like mistakenly we wouldn't be able to work on the same thing? And the second part of that question, what if I undo a change? Person A has done a change, and then I didn't do anything, or I've done a change, and then person B has done a change. If I undo a change, would it undo the person B, the other person's change, or my change? How does the collaboration work, or the co-authoring work in this regard?
Right. So when I have this here, when I have this document, right, it's called the Southern Partners. It's opened here. And I have in the browser, just a second ago, I was showing you the ability for me to have in private browsing as my other file. When you edit in the Word document, the first thing that you will notice, first of all, that immediately it will tell me that, by the way, you are editing this document. Okay, so this is the first thing. So it will tell me that you are editing this section of that document, and this person that is editing this section of this document. I've seen it today within my keynote. When I wanted to talk to Alex, I went to his location where he is editing. Winward is telling me that he is editing. Now, there are 2 things here. First time, it will tell you that there is an edit happening here, but it will not show it to you until he commits on that edit for Winward only. There is no live edit on Winward unless you are using the web. But if you are not using the web, both of you, it will wait until someone saves, then it will tell you that there is a new update in this document. Would you like to take the updates from me? Alright? Why is that? Because of the scenarios that you have mentioned. Sometimes we might interdict with the image so that answers the question.
So, thank you for the questions. Now, folks, we've covered Office as a platform, but what we're going to spend some time is talk about Office 365, which is a subscription-based. We'd like to share with you exactly what is the difference between the 2 platforms, having Office as a client and having Office as a service. And Zai's going to walk you through a brief presentation. We'll break for lunch, and then we'll talk about the new SharePoint and the social experience with VMware collaboration.
To be honest with you, to speak about the cloud is a very, very nice subject today. And I think for most of the IT managers, they have the cloud as part of their agenda. If you don't have the cloud as part of your agenda, I'm not going to say about the follower and the leader as much as I'm going to say that you are definitely a follower. Because what is happening, if you want to lead today, you need to have that cloud within your agenda. The thing is basically what's happening in the market. The market is dynamically changing in a way that sometimes you need to stand and say, do I need to have to buy hardware, storage, and other stuff just to enable an email? Is this something that I need to do? I know a customer is between the audience that came to me once and told me that, look what, I need to be next week up and running with an email. And to be honest with you, as much as we invested as Microsoft helping out, they did it their own. Their resources actually, they went out, they read about the Office 365, they created the tenant online, they had an email service, and they started migrating without even Microsoft being involved dynamically every single day. So this is a kind of like things that is happening. The market is changing in a way. I wish I can say the name. Right, so the market is changing in a way that is very, very dynamic. And people, without even us at Microsoft contributing, they are doing Office 365. Let me tell you about an Office 365 implementation that you can experience yourself. Who likes sushi food? Right. Sushi, very nice sushi. All of us, we like sushi. You know Maki? I was that the other day with my wife eating with Maki. And very nicely, they end up the show with a machine that looks like a Windows 8, but it's not Windows 8. Alright, so they give you that machine, they tell you, what about you give us a feedback? And I'm a SharePoint guy. And the first time I look into the form, I know this is SharePoint or ASP.NET. Then I start looking into the field, and I look into SharePoint.com out there. Wow! They are enabling surveys over SharePoint. Then I started investigating what has happened there. And when I found out that without even getting back to Microsoft, they went online, they found a tool, SharePoint. They subscribed to SharePoint, they added a survey, and they just enabled the surveys to the public. And everyone who knows SharePoint knows that this is an Office 365. It doesn't need anyone to be a genius to know what is this actually running behind it, because it says SharePoint in the URL. So that's fantastic. They wanted this tool to happen anywhere, anytime. No server hosting, no publishing to that application, no firewalls. I need to be up and running tomorrow. This is the cloud. This is actually what we say, that you can subscribe to the service. And by looking into the service, you can have that service enabled somewhere, and you can start working on it. Let me have this structure and explain to you more the cloud. So I'm going to start with this one.
You may want to change slides. This is my back.
Just 1 second. Right. Who has Office 365 in the room? So some who has created a tenant, a trial for Office 365 before? Right, okay. So if you have seen, go into Office 365 and create a trial account, you can have it for free. One thing that you will notice, that I want you as an IT guy to always have in mind what is happening in the background. So when you go and create that Office 365 tenant, normally what happens, in the real world, we go there, we buy hardware for storage, then we need to sign a contract for implementation. Then we need to sign a contract for implementation. Then a company will have that contract on a maintenance agreement. Then after that, one of the things that we needed to do, so one of the things that happens all the time, that when you sign that contract, is the company will come to you and tell you, oh, by the way, we have some engineers, we need them to be available somewhere. And once we have these engineers available, right, we need them to be active, and we need to work with them. We need to make sure that they are experienced in the email, and other engineers are experienced in the SharePoint, and they go with an installation, project plan, and so on. And one of the things that happens all the time, that when they want to implement, you will keep in mind that you need to go through the implementation documentation, requirement gathering, the storage that you need to buy, and so on. All of that takes time. Today, in the dynamic world, if I'm opening a company, I need to be active in 1 hour. I need my email to be active in 1 hour. When I say 1 hour, I mean 1 hour, I need my email to be active and accessible through my mobile, through the different devices. In the normal world, I will need a firewall, I will need the different systems. This is not anymore the case. With the cloud, you need to be active as much as possible, as fast as possible. And what I'm going to do here, when I say that active, it doesn't supposed to mean that active means that I'm just only enabling the service. But as we're online all the time, is I need to make sure that if the connectivity on my data centers went off, the cloud is up and running. And as a Microsoft, we guarantee 99.999% over the cloud, over Microsoft Office 365. This is backed up by money. So when you subscribe to Office 365 to Microsoft Cloud, and we go down, we pay you back hours. What do you think about that? This is the way how we trust that we will be up and running all the time. And even our data centers in the background, they replicate themselves across different countries. So this is the way how massive is the cloud for Microsoft. We have a huge amount of customers today. Customers from governments, customers from local markets, small business, enterprise business, fitting with the cloud, and you can watch a lot of cases that are available online. But one thing that I like to say about the cloud is what is actually needed to build the cloud. So when you think about it, you need to start simple. One thing that I always ask people to do, if you want to activate the cloud, go and create the trial. Don't wait Microsoft to come to you and do it. Do it yourself. Go subscribe to the trial, create it down, and see the experience. In the cloud, we don't ask customers to be professional IT specialists. We ask them to know what are the minimum actually technical requirements that we need to have this enabled on the machines. That's what we require from them. Now there are things that we need to change as well on the cloud, but doesn't mean that we need them all the time. The second thing, when you plan, focus on the users, don't focus on the systems. You don't anymore need hardware. Right? You just need to focus on the users, how the users will interact with that cloud, what they will access, how I can grant them this service or this service, what kind of quota I can give them. You will focus all your energy on the users, not the systems. And this is very important in the cloud. The last thing, think of it, what's going to happen in the cloud? Is it going to be only the cloud or my premise? And the only company worldwide that does on-premise and the cloud is Microsoft. Microsoft provides you a solution that can be hybrid. So you can have some of the users living in your exchange on-premise, some of the users are available in the cloud. For universities, there is a free cloud offering that is happening right now. So it's Office 365 for free. You can get email, 25 gig with email, imagine. And you can get as well SharePoint sites, and you can get as well other stuff like link as well enabled. And there is definitely charge offering.
So Zai, I have a question for you. Yes, from a technical setup, I understand it. But what's the compelling case for someone in this room to look at O365 as opposed to Office on-prem?
So if you think about it, this is the way how it is. So today, if you are on Office 365 and you just need to be active, the way how you do it all the time, you start thinking, what is my organization? Is it basically, I have some of the applications on-premise, some of the applications on the cloud. On the configuration side, definitely you can have the configuration. But what I will ask all of the customers, start with 5 people right away on the cloud. You can have definitely the same credentials as well replicated between on-premise and the cloud, but you need to start somewhere. And you will find with the new Office 365, the new version of Office 365 that will be launched this month, 27th of this month, you will find that the first thing that it does when you create the tenant, it will ask you, what about you start with 5 users? This is the first question that we give you. Start with someone. Just want you to start. Just want you to feel the experience on creating users in the cloud.
Right, but I mean, what are the features? I mean, I'm using Office on the cloud. What's the benefits of using Office on the cloud? I don't want the technical, I want to know the features.
Right, so this is the normal Office. If you think about it, you have search, you have SharePoint sites, portals. We talked about the SkyDrive Pro, the ability for you to store the files in the cloud. You have the BI, which means the Excel web access and the ability for you to create Excel reports. And you have as well the documents, and the way how you can version the documents, and have as well the information policies that you can add in the documents. And you have Link, which is your ability to do communication with the people.
You're saying that SharePoint, Link, Outlook, all of this is exactly like it is on the cloud as it is on the premise.
Not only this. So what we have added as well, we said, all right, when clients, they subscribe to the cloud, there are different plans. One of the plans, they have as well the ability for you to have Office on-premise, which means that you can install Office, the complete Office on your desktop the same way how you are doing it today. But when you are on the cloud, think of it, I might be here in the office on the desktop, then I go to home, I need to install Office again and again. So one feature that you have highlighted today, how we can stream Office to the client side. And let's see the slide when I create the Office 365 tenant. When I go and say install Office, in 2 minutes Office will be installed on my machine. This is a kind of concept of application virtualization that you can have in your machine right away.
So compared to the old office, in terms of getting it up and running, how quickly, in comparison to 365 work for a person who wants to start working essentially on office?
So we're going to do it live now. So we're going to create the tenant live now. And we can see all, and you all can create the tenant. You just need to make sure that you're going to create your own layer with the Office 365. Let us know your feedback at any point of time. And I will be more than happy even to work with you on building your plan around the Office 365. Now, last thing I wanted to highlight here. What is the experience of Office 365? Right, so Office 365 is the same thing that you have here. The difference is you don't have the server side. What does that supposed to mean? You know Exchange. When you install Exchange, you have the server side and you have the Outlook web access. In the Office 365, you have the Outlook web access. Yes, you can do configurations, changes, and so on, but you are not actually dealing with a server. You are just dealing with the browser. So anything that happens in the browser at the back end, you don't interact with it. The SharePoint. So SharePoint is the web access SharePoint. You don't see the SharePoint server configuration and administration. This is not there. The administration side just only for configuring the SharePoint sites and maintaining the SharePoint sites. That doesn't supposed to mean that I go and disable a service application within the SharePoint. That's not there. In the cloud, it's all provisioned automatically. You don't interact with them. This is the power. You don't even know how many servers are running in the back end to enable my SharePoint. It's just Microsoft provisioned as much as we think we need. This is the way how it is. That's why we guarantee 99.9%. Everything is happening in the background in a highly automated way. On Link side, when you enable Link in the cloud, you don't need to go and buy certificates, installing Link in the front end, Edge, and so on. It just goes and gets enabled in the number of minutes that you will calculate is right now for me. So what about we create a tenant in the cloud? What about we go to the live demo and we create a complete tenant in the cloud? So here, I'm going to go to the browser. Right, so the way how you create a tenant for you on Office 365, you go to office365.com. As I promised you, 27th of this month, this site will have the new Office 365. I'm not going to do the demo on the old one, I'm going to show you the new one first. So the first thing that you go to this website, it tells you a lot of stuff, free trial, as I told you, Microsoft's focusing that you need to activate something, you need to see it, to believe about the service and to know what is exactly behind the Office 365 program. Now, one of the things that we added here that I recommend everyone before creating the Office 365 to look at is a trust with Office365.com. You will find all the time, especially if you are in an enterprise, a lot of questions around privacy and so on from Microsoft. You know, when you have your data hosted somewhere with someone else, you will have all of these stuff, especially from the risk management guys. Go to this site and look into this section. You will find every single piece about security. But one thing that I highly recommend that you look at is independently verified, which means that we have an independent companies and auditing companies that comes to Microsoft and independently verify whether Microsoft is secure or not secure. And you can see that Microsoft is one of the few companies, actually it might be the only company worldwide that's certified across all these certificates together. There is an online video from Microsoft data centers that you can look at, and you will notice in the video that they will tell you about 5 layers of security applied with the Microsoft data centers. In fact, if you go and fly to Amsterdam as an example, you want to go to the Microsoft data center, you will look into like a Ministry of Defense location where it's just very, very well protected. People, when they go in, they wipe them out to make sure that they protect their data. We know every single access, even logical, physical access, we can monitor it, we can track it, we can know how it is, and we know how to recover anything on the data center. Actually, the data centers are replicated worldwide as well for high availability. So you can see how massive we are running in the back end, the service. Now, for the new Office 365, just go to office.com/preview. I need someone to have a watch and calculate how much minutes it will take me to create the Office 365 live in front of you. So I will go here. You will find down there is basically options for business, so Office 365 is for business. And you can see Office Pro Plus, you can see SharePoint and so on. And you can say sign up for the normal Office. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to say that, right, I need to have Office 365, a complete Office 365. So I can click either sign up from here. So I can say that, right, how much is basically, I need to try, let's try the Office from here. And as you can see, it just gives me right away, what do you want? So Kuwait, my user ID is Kuwait 365 demo. This is a virtual domain that we create for me. So if we create a virtual domain on the cloud, it's called kw365demo.microsoft.com. Oops. Did you notice my password? Right. So as simple as that, I went here, and that's it. I just created my company. You know what? When I go to create my account, look how much time it will take in the back end to create a complete company. It will go on the background. It will provision the servers. You will have an Exchange link, SharePoint immediately created in the background. So Microsoft will go and buy the certificates, then they will buy the server, then they will buy the network. Then they will license all of these applications, and then you will wait the sales guy to come to your office, find the contracts, what's going to happen, boom, the cloud is there. That's it. I just finished installing my cloud. I have a complete company now with Exchange, with SharePoint, and with Link, and even with a public website. So I can see my email, Outlook, calendar, people, newsfeed, SkyDrive, and sites, and so on. I can be even the admin. I can focus on creating a public website. Right away, I build my own public website. I can go and build collaboration, and I figure out the collaboration. I have the email addresses, and I add the email addresses. One of the things that you will see, what about my official domain? So this is a virtual domain. I need to connect it to my official domain. When you go to your domains from here, you can say as simple as, right, I want to add a new domain. And it will tell you what's the registrar that you have. Is it basically, so GoDaddy, or you have network solutions and so on. And you will add and it will tell you the steps. The steps doesn't take from you actually less than 3 minutes to verify that domain that you are owning that domain. Now on your domain, on the registrar, there is a priority always, 0 or 1. Which one is the 0 or 1? If you have an old system, they will be the 0. It means that they are the one that will receive the emails, that old system. If you want to make the cloud the primary, you make it 1. And immediately that's it. You have the cloud is your, sorry, you make the cloud the 0. So the cloud will receive all the emails and will be your publicly available.
Okay. Yeah. Any questions at this point? Bandwidth.
Right. So from bandwidth utilization, there is definitely a bandwidth calculator out there. But think of it as the following. You are uploading, downloading documents on the cloud. So the bandwidth actually varies, depends on how massive is the collaboration, how much is the number of users. Now, the bandwidth will definitely is definitely optimized. It's different applications, they have different bandwidth calculations. So if you talk about Link as itself, there is a bandwidth calculation that's happening there. If you talk about SharePoint, we will ask you how big is the data that you upload and download. From an Exchange perspective as well, there is a bandwidth calculation. But on the Exchange side, there is always a quota that you can have. Even on the Link side, you can do that. But on Exchange, you can say the maximum 5 minutes that I can have. By default, it's 25 minutes, right? So this is kind of like a way for you to calculate. But definitely is optimized, is compressed on many stuff that we have because of using some protocols for Link as an example to compress the codecs, the audio and video, and definitely within the next session you will have more information about that. Any other questions?
So what about the integration? You have the link on the cloud that's saying have SharePoint on premises. That's just like the sake of an example. Would they be able to integrate together?
Yeah. So here it becomes, what is my plan? When I'm going to do deploy, or I've activated my tenants, and I need to do deployments. How I'm going to do the deployments? How I'm going to interact between the cloud and on-premise? Let me show you something. What I connected right now is called the Small Business Plan, which means that this is for small business, this is for 5 people. If I go from here, and that was my suspicion, if I go from here, you remember today I used my tenant on the cloud, which is the Microsoft Gulf MOD, that was the enterprise one. Let me connect to it right now. And then, when you create the cloud, it will tell you, what about we create a plan for you, tasks for you to migrate or start fresh. If you start fresh, there is no integration, right? Because you are starting fresh. But there will be always an integration between the same Office application. As an example, if you have Link started, you go to Outlook, you add the user, immediately the presence will be there by default, right? The machine will recognize that this is a user on Link, it will give you the integration. If you are working with the same environment, where you have Link on-premise, SharePoint on the cloud, or vice versa, as will they recognize each other? Actually, SharePoint and Link will be within the same domain, right? So they will definitely have the integration, what we call it the hybrid deployment will be there. But at the same time, when you go and upload a document in SharePoint and this user from on-premise, again, the vice versa, they will see each other as if they are one place. For the user, they don't know. And this happens for a lot of organizations where even the same exchange is hybrid, which means some of the users on-premise, other users are on the cloud. And there is a company, interesting company that we have here in Kuwait. They told me we migrated a user from on-premise to the cloud, from Exchange on-premise to Exchange on the cloud. The users didn't even notice. You know, when they migrate the user, how it switches? Just a couple of seconds. They didn't even notice that his email went up and running again. Sometimes they have to, but they don't even notice. This is the way how we can go seamless with Exchange hybrid deployments. Now, definitely there are a lot of considerations. In the cloud, there might be some additional features that you don't have on premise. And this is something that I will cover right now. Okay. Right, let me go here. Let me go to the enterprise version of the cloud. You have seen the small version. You've seen how it looks like. So for small companies, that ranges from 5 to 25. Definitely this is an option that you can go immediately with that. Let me show you this. I would access as an I'm the administrator. What's going to happen when I access my enterprise in the cloud? The first thing that will happen, it will get you to the dashboard. If you look into my dashboard, this is an enterprise version of Office 365. This is what we call it the E plan. The Office 365 for E or K plan. Right? This is not the B, which is the small business. This dashboard is very interesting. It tells me that, oh, your Exchange, SharePoint, Link, Office 365 portal, it's all up and running. On the left, it can tell me that, would you like to do the setup? As I told you, the setup means that I'm going to do the hybrid, or I'm going to build a plan for myself. On Office 365, you have 3 choices. Start fresh, migrate to the cloud, or do the hybrid. Okay? You can have that. Now, on the other side, I'm adding users. If I have Active Directory on premise, I need to integrate with the cloud. This is where you deploy an Active Directory, something we call it ADFS, Active Directory Federation Services. An Active Directory Federation Service is a role in Active Directory that connects you to your tenant on the cloud. There are some configurations, the guidelines here, definitely we can illustrate this one. But as well, we'll get you connected, which means that when a user accesses the email on the cloud or link, they will access by their credentials on premise. Means their username and password on premise. So this is the way how you can go seamless. When they open the Outlook, they don't log in with a new username and password. They just don't know. They just log into the machine and they are up and running this way. Right, so they log into the machine right away. So this is one of the things that you can have. You can add users, you can log into the users here. You can have a bulk upload. The company that I was telling you about, amazingly they added a bulk upload of 700 users right away. Actually, we did the migration in less than 1 hour. 1 hour to 2 hours, they did the migration. And by the way, it wasn't me who was doing this. They have done the exercise themselves, they tried it, they have done it themselves, without even Microsoft contributing massively on that. This is how easy it is when you go to the Office 365. Now you have the domains, I mentioned the domains. And we have the service help. Now on the service help side, right, okay, this is my dashboard as an admin. On the service help side, I don't go and access the deep level of the services. I go with a big name. Exchange online, that's it. I didn't go and check if the Exchange Hub is working or the CAS is working, the mailbox is up and running. I don't need to know that. I just need to know my service is up and running, which is online exchange. That's it. You don't go deep into the services that are running in the background. All of this is wiped away in the cloud. In the cloud, we don't want you to focus on the service. We want you to focus on the user. Make sure the users, they consume Outlook with access to the max. Right, the second thing, on the report side, you remember Exchange reports. A lot of customers are asking, we need Exchange reports. They are there. SharePoint reports, they are there. Now, sometimes some of the reports, they were related to your on-premise deployment. You will not find them there anyway. So we're not going to give you reports about how much the CPU is running. There's something that we're not going to give you, because this is our cloud running in the background. Now, if you move here forwards, when you enable a user, and this is very interesting, you can say that, all right, I'm creating a new user. Right away, when you create the new user, you can specify the name, as an example, Asad, Ahmed, Asad Ahmed, Asad H, Asad A. Next. So, I can assign a role. Yes or no, so as an example, I can give him a service administrator. This is the person that is responsible for the billing only, and so on. So I'm going to say that this is a service administrator. I can say that worldwide this is in Kuwait. Now, here's the thing. When I created this user in the cloud, I can say which service will be up and running for this user. Is it going to be Exchange, SharePoint? What kind of stuff I need to enable? And this is the flexibility that you can have in the cloud. When you subscribe to the cloud, you subscribe to the service. You have different plans, and you assign a license at the end. So you buy, as an example, a bulk. You say that 100 licenses, those are E1 licenses, which has some of the features. Then those 200 for E3. You can have the flexibility. You can even have a plan for kiosk. You know the kiosk users? If I'm a retailer, and I have users just only in the retail stores, but I need them to have an email because this is legally in my company. I need to send them their salary slips. I need to send them some leave requests and information. I can even have these users. To be honest with you, I have aviation companies. I'm not going to say company. In MEA. Alright, what they are doing right now, they said, alright, we have kiosk users. Let's go and have all of these kiosk users, the cabinet crew and so on, enabled on Office 365 as kiosk users. They can access their documents, the portal just only for read-only, and they even have an email connected through the different mobile devices. Yes, you will have it on 1 gig as a storage. It's not like when you go to the E-plan, which has 25 gig immediately. If you look into E3, it has unlimited, because it even provides archiving, unlimited archiving. E4 is very interesting in the Office 365. It does not give you only email, SharePoint, and so on. It gives you as well link, voice, which means that I can enable the whole environment as an E4, but I can deploy the voice on my premise. So I can say this number of users will connect to these PBX. And when you have a worldwide, this is a huge, because you're going to deploy link on premise to connect it to the voice. You have it up and running, and Wasim Hashim today will talk about it within his session.
So this kind of gives you the kind of flexibility as an IT administrator controlling costs. Why pay for a certain set of employees that aren't going to use all of Office? Only pay for what they're going to use. So from an audit cost perspective, it makes a lot of sense in saying this group of employees, they only get to use these services, and that's all I'm going to pay Microsoft for.
Yeah, and one of the nice examples that I keep mentioning on the time. You know, who doesn't know Starbucks? There's a huge amount of customers, as I told you. But who doesn't know Starbucks? So you know what Starbucks they have done? They said, all right, we're going to have some of the users, all the users across the shops, we're going to have a chaos of users. Other users, they will have the full plans. Coca-Cola, interesting. They decided all the users in the cloud. We don't want any more storage to buy storage, certificates, maintenance agreements. That's it, all white. And you can have that in any of the cloud. Again, seeing is believing. Go to office.com/review, create your tenants. I didn't show you Outlook, SharePoint, and so on because those applications that we all know. I just show you the dashboard. And you can explore the other features right away yourself.
Thank you, Zion. So, we're going to break for lunch. Any questions before we leave?
By the way, when you create the offices card, just make sure you connect your mobile right away. Just send me the experience.
Why companies would prefer to keep the hybrid operation rather than moving down line or
right.
using online?
Very interesting question.
What is the reason for this?
Yeah, very important question. The reason why some of the companies they do the hybrid. So the question was the following: why some of the companies they decide to go hybrid, they didn't go full-fledged online, right? So the reason why they do the hybrid, there are many reasons, but let me tell you 3 reasons that are main critical. The first reason, sometimes some of the users for legal purposes they have to stay within the country. Right? So if you are a bank, as an example, you might have some certain number of users that you have to stay within the country, other users that you can go on the cloud. So this is one reason. This is very critical. This is because of regulations.
So we're talking about compliance policies in finance. For example, you need to save your data for 25 years before you destroy it. That data, by law, and also in certain government entities, cannot leave the geography where they reside. So from a public cloud perspective, the data centers are outside Kuwait. So if you want, from a legal perspective, there may be a law saying this data cannot leave Kuwait, it must stay on Kuwaiti soil. So that's why some organizations may want to stay in that.
The 2 other reasons. The first one is that you might have line of business applications integrated within that application. Let me give you an example. You know Outlook. They run an Outlook app. Some of the customers, they didn't know that Exchange provides archiving, so they went and bought the company. An application from a company, from one of our partners. They are our partners at the end. And when they had, as an example, Enterprise Vault or any of the applications that are available as well, they integrated that within Outlook. When they moved to the cloud, there is no archiving. Archiving is built in within the cloud. So this is where the time they need to decide, all right, some of the users we will keep them here for the sake that their archiving is here. Others will move into the cloud. The same thing for SharePoint. When you develop a complete application of SharePoint, you can have the same luxury in the cloud because there is no ability for you to go and develop code against the cloud. So this is where the time you need the SharePoint to be close to you because you can customize it from the ground up to match your application. The third reason, and I see it as well very important reason, sometimes what happens is that connectivity is not enabled in that location. So you need to measure as well, you need to figure out the connectivity in that location. So as an example, I have one of the companies. In one of the regions, they didn't have an internet connection that is high to reach there. And they said we have a lot of the users that they are interacting internally within that corporate. They don't send a lot of emails outside. So they decided, they said, no, we're going to keep them on premise until we fix the networking issue on sending emails outside the company. They don't even send outside. They use the hub of gas to communicate.
I just need to add another reason that a lot of customers consider. Sometimes on enterprise, for example, with 2,000 users, and I went home and I did the trial and it worked nice for me. So I pick up like 100 users that are more or less useless like me for the enterprise. We test it, we go cloud. So we need to do the hybrid. Stay for a while, test it, be comfortable with it before we start migrating users.
Does that answer the question? Please hold it. Interesting. Would you guys want me to go and create these?
Just an extension to what you said, when you have a large number of users, let's say 2,000 users, and you are going to migrate, and it's not an exchange, right? It's some other mail system, correct? And how would you go about doing that?
Does it support IMAP?
Yes.
Yeah. We're done. Let So when you have an IMAP system, you go and create an Excel file. There is someone in the room that can express this better than me. So when you go and create that Excel sheet, you do the users on that email system, their passwords on that email system, then a field of the user names in the Office 365. You do the mapping, you upload a public. Office 365 will change. It will go and start fetching all of these emails one by one from your IMAP system to the cloud to migrate them. It will migrate the mails. Some of the IMAP doesn't support some calendar and contacts migration. So this is the way out of the experience. So you can migrate the emails from IMAP that supports IMAP or POP3. So this is something that's enabled within Office 365 for migration. Now, if you don't have this, and sometimes what happens, some of the systems they are not even supported. What you need at least to extract the data and move into an IMAP system or move into Exchange in a way. This will go core if you are using a system that you have developed yourself, which you don't expect that. So if you are using Zimbra as an example, they support IMAP to move to Office 365. We have so many customers that they migrated from all systems, whether it was emails hosted here, that's IMAP systems, to the cloud immediately. Again, trial account, do it yourself. Try it for free, and you can do it yourself. You can just create an Excel sheet, map it down. It's a CSV file, template out there that's available. Once you create the Office 365, it will tell you what do you have. Let me create for you a plan for migration or for a fresh start. Then it will show you the steps, and you will go step one by one. You can connect with me anytime. Please go ahead.
Okay, hello. Well, my question is, would you tell me more about the availability offline? Because this is a web-based solution, right?
The availability?
Offline.
Offline?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So, from an offline perspective, when you don't have the browser, you're not going to access your documents, right? But what we have here is we have Office. So, if you have the E3 as an example, you have Office right away enabled offline. Now, I showed you something else. You know SkyDrive Pro. On the SkyDrive Pro, what you have seen, that when I go here, I can see my documents right away offline. So if I disconnect the internet here, I can still see my documents offline. I can modify them. When I go online, I can see them modified right away in the cloud. It just uploads the modifications right away to the cloud. So this is a kind of like offline access for you.
For a company, this is reliable. For my company, whole system is online, or it's a web-based solution. So for a company, this is reliable.
So for the companies, I would expect them to go with the companies, most of the majority of the users that they consume and offer data, they will go with the A3 plan, which will have Office on-premise, means that Office installed on your machine or streamed to your machine. But that's supposed to mean that you have Office already here. So if you don't need to use the browser, the Office in the browser, you can use your Office on the desktop. But remember, the offline access, the same feature on SharePoint enabled. Exchange, offline mode definitely is already enabled in the mobile and the Outlook. Or in Windows 8, you can use the mail application. Okay, so all of this is enabled.
Okay, so I'll recap. I think we've got a good session on how you manage 365, how you get started, how you work with it. We explained some of the features. I want to, as I mentioned before, as a go-to, Mohammed Zayed is based out of Kuwait, and his main responsibility is to engage on a one-to-one basis with you and demo hands-on. We have a CIA lab, we can demo this in the lab, you can come and do a pilot in your own environment and show you how it works. It's all free. All you need is some time with us, and we can show you how you can benefit and get going with this right away. So please reach out to us, have a conversation, and let us really show you hands-on how this really works in your own environment. Any other questions?
Just you're going to promise me, guys, you're going to create a tenant online.
At least try.
365.com.
And we switch to O365.
So the first thing I will say, Allah Yahdi, to the analysis. So alright, so I'm using Google. So the thing is basically, if you think about it, Google Docs is similar to Microsoft SkyDrive. Right? The same thing, Office Web Apps or Google Docs. And if you look at them, they are both free. The companies we don't allow you to take our content and move them to a free consumer kind of like base. I have to have control of the content. What if you decide tomorrow to leave the company and go somewhere else? Or some of the employees is under legal hold. I need to see the content. I need to track that content. I need to see who edited the content. And those users belong to my company. They don't belong to the public cloud. So this is a very critical reason. With Microsoft or with Google, by the way, their Google Apps opening that was free, it's not anymore free. You have to pay for it. We will not do what Google does to inspect your information, look into the information that you have to. Yes. Right, so we have two SkyDrives. So SkyDrive, the consumer, the 7 gig for free, similar to Google Docs that you're using. The one thing that with the SkyDrive is integrated with Office. So means that from Office you can connect to your SkyDrive, Office on your desktop, or the Office on the Windows 8 applications like OneNote, or even Office with apps in the browser. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention is SkyDrive Pro comes with SharePoint. So if you have SharePoint online, SharePoint on premise, this is where SkyDrive Pro comes in place. And this one is for enterprise use, for using SharePoint as an enterprise document management system. Where you store your files, it goes with you all the time, but it's still controlled by the IT team. But I wanted to mention here, and I need to tweet about that. As Microsoft, we will not use your data for ads. I will not go and read your data and generate some ads, some cool ads on the right. I don't know what's your data. In fact, in our Office 365, your data are highly protected and a tenant that we don't even have as Microsoft access to it. We access it when you are telling us that please go and fix this one for me, if you have something. Other than that, everything is tracked, independently verified. We will never breach your privacy like the G guys.
Question is,
حتى لو بمكان.
let's say you said the data is property of the company, the organization, and you were talking about an employee leaves. Let's say the employee, before he leaves all the emails.
Sorry, again?
An employee is leaving the organization. Okay, he's planning to leave the organization. He has deleted all the mails from the cloud.
He deleted all the mails from the cloud.
Yeah, from his account.
You can retain them.
So as an administrator, will you be able to go and...
You can retain them. There is a period as well. When you delete, it doesn't go to delete right away. So it is kept in somewhere until we reach the deadlines. Within the service description of Office 365, you will have a amount of time that where you can retrieve the data. This I think is, I can't mention the number, the exact number, I don't have it in my mind. So there is a number of time.
So it's a limited period. Yes. So you can't go back, let's say, 6 months back and say...
Now, the interesting part is when you have the user and the legal hold. You know what's legal hold? Legal hold is a feature in an exchange that says this user, I'm doubting him. If they are actually under legal or inspection, means that every single email there has to be kept forever. So Microsoft keeps that email for you forever, and you retain it to your location for the sake as a record, what we call the record ecosystem. This is unlimited when you have the E3 now.
Well, I have the other side of the same question. What happens for all these synchronized or locally available files that is sitting on the personal device of an employee when he leaves? Obviously, the
device.
Yeah.
His device.
Yeah.
Right. So if he syncs, all right. So there are two parts of the story. So the first story, if you don't apply RMS over these documents, and he copied the documents, it's the same way of accessing any file share, and he moves these files through a USB to another device.
Right.
If you have RMS, rights management security with an Active Directory, applied over all the documents that you have, when they copy the document, they go back home, they start running, it doesn't authenticate against the RMS server. It will not open the document. The document is completely encrypted with 128 encryption. The second thing that you need to make sure of, if they are syncing, when you disable, SkyDrive will try to connect. It will give them the last version here. Any version after, they will not access.
But the last version stays.
Because it's offline. If they copy them, it will do a normal action that I have an access and copy them. But definitely, as I told you, RMS is done. And there is another one. Let me tell you about that. It's a secret. So something can happen in April. where Microsoft can announce something called data leakage prevention within as well within Exchange. So Exchange now will have DLP. You don't need to buy any other system to have DLP. What DLP does, if you send an email and you say in the email a credit card number 123456, it goes to auditing team, auditing can read it, they send it to someone else. What about that? Imagine how inspection can do over the content to make sure that privacy is maintained, especially if you are a bank. Imagine if somebody sends a profile of the customer information outside. To be honest with you, I got a feedback from one of the CIOs at one of the banks. He told me for me to go Office 365 is much secure than have it within my premise. Because sometimes they don't control the skills, if they just enable the service or not. When it's enabled by default, the systems will take care of it. Yeah. Thank you. Please. Yes, you can force the password, what we call it, password, let's call it that way. The password is style. So the way how the password is constructed, there is a minimum requirement for the password, capital and small. But you can as well, the complexity of the password itself, you can define it. As an example, by default it comes with 6 characters and some of them has to be capital and small. You can force a different policy of more than that.
And expiration?
Yeah, and expiration as well. Any other question? Alright, يعطيكم العافية. شكرا لكم. Thank you so much.